Right now, Bitcoin is actually crashing to the downside on the 4-hour time frame. Of course, I already pointed out some warning signals over the past 2 days, and now we are just seeing this materialize. Either way, we have this bearish divergence confirmed on the 4-hour time frame, typically indicating that we are likely going to see a break from this bullish price action that we saw here previously, and typically it just plays out in the form of some choppy sideways price action or potentially some bearish momentum. As always, there is a point of invalidation with these bearish divergences, which in this case is sitting at around 82.5k. If you end up seeing a new move above these previous highs, that actually completely opens the door to more bullish price action for Bitcoin once again. For now though, we have broken below this ascending trend line, which is yet another warning signal in the short term. So personally, the way I'm looking at it is basically just drawing this descending trend line and saying, okay, so long as we are trading below this, Bitcoin is simply in a downtrend in the short term. However, as you may notice from this text right here, break below 74.8k equals downtrend confirmed, and this is on the lower time frames, of course, because with this text I'm actually talking about the broader market structure on the lower time frames. So for example, if you take this horizontal line of support here, we could still just see a bounce from this, or maybe a little bit lower down from this type of area of support, and just get yet another move to the upside, potentially even breaking above these previous highs, right? Just because we are seeing this warning signal flash here does not mean that we now need to see a massive crash to the downside. Once again, similar to how I said yesterday that it was too early to be saying that we are in a new bull market, in this situation it is also too early to say that we are now going to get some kind of massive reversal and crash to the downside, although that would of course be great for the engagement underneath this video, but that's not what this channel is about. So hopefully I explained that 4-hour time frame clearly. Now let's take a quick look at the support and resistance levels on this daily time frame. Notice how we are actually seeing a rejection from this area of resistance sitting from 80,000 all the way up to about 82k, and the next support to the downside, if we get a candle close below 80,000, is sitting from 78.4k all the way down to about 76,000, and that 76k level is right here in the chart on these orange circles. I understand that it might be a bit difficult to see with this bar chart pattern on top of it, but you can see that we first had a big rejection there. The second time we ended up breaking through. Right now, of course, we're still trading above it, but as soon as we're breaking down below this 76k level, I think the market sentiment is going to get extremely bearish very, very quickly. We might already start to see the sentiment reset immediately if we just spend 2 days going down from here, because as I pointed out yesterday, we already are seeing that very extreme market sentiment where people are basically just insanely bullish, saying that we are already in a new bull market here. So that's why yesterday I showed you guys this chart as well, right? Where so long as we're in this red zone, as far as I'm concerned, we are still in a bear market and actually just expecting more downside. Although I don't know if we first have to go up a bit further and then end up rolling over. Now the gray zone is where, well, it's literally a gray zone, right? I'm not sure at that point if we are in a bull or bear market. And as soon as we end up breaking above 97k, if that ends up happening during the bear market, well, at that point I have to really reconsider what I've been talking about, because at that point we might actually be in a bull market. Still very early to be talking about that though, so let's actually come back to this bar chart pattern, because this yellow pattern that you see in the chart is actually taken from the 2022 bear market, actually the very end of the 2022 bear market. Recently we have just been using this as a way to say, look, even if we go all the way up to 86,000, for example, this would not be out of the ordinary of what we have seen in previous bear markets. So once again, if we basically reset the RSI a little bit, maybe even get another move to the upside, eventually my base case expectation is still just that we're going to end up rolling over and at least get close to these previous lows that we had around 60k, potentially even making a new lower low. So that is my bias at the moment of what I'm expecting for Bitcoin over the next couple months. Although, as I always say, guys, it doesn't have to literally trace this bar chart pattern exactly day by day. I just have it in the chart here to give you guys a rough outline of what I'm expecting over the next couple months. Next, taking a look at the 1 week time frame, nothing really changed here. So once again, we have this bearish flag pattern that broke out to the downside at 87,000. If we end up getting a candle close above 87k, that would actually invalidate the pattern, meaning that we would no longer be targeting 52k in the Bitcoin price. But so far we haven't invalidated it yet. yet, which is why we are currently still targeting 52K for Bitcoin. Moving on to the Bitcoin ETF flow tables. Yesterday we saw a smaller net inflow of about $50 million in a single day of trading, so quite a big drop off in comparison to what we saw the days before. Overall though, for now it is still having an upwards pressuring effect on the Bitcoin price. Taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidity analysis as well though, notice how right here earlier today we took out a huge amount of liquidity at around 80,000. Potentially might even still be looking at some more downside liquidity to come get grabbed. For example, if we zoom out to the 3-month time frame, right here there is still a bunch of liquidity around 79K, potentially even at 77.7K. So this is why on those lower time frames the easiest thing you can actually do is to just draw a descending trend line like this and basically say, look, as long as we're trading below it, I'm open to see more and more liquidity to the downside come get grabbed. However, if you are a bear in the short term here, and for example, you see a bounce from this area of support at around 79.3K, in combination with a break of a descending trend line, or maybe we start to see some kind of bullish divergence starting to show up over the course of the weekend that we're heading into in a couple days. You know, something like this, some kind of bullish signals start to confirm. That would of course be a warning signal for the bears, similar to how this in combination with this trend line break was a warning signal for the bulls in the short term. So that's it for the Bitcoin analysis. In terms of gold, we actually saw a continuation to the upside earlier today, reaching as high as 47.60. And for silver, we ended up reaching all the way into this big area of resistance, sitting from 80 up to 82.5K, which is roughly where me and the community ended up taking profits. So here you can see we took this long from 71 up to 79 here for silver. And someone else in the community took this trade with me, 71 roughly up to 81. So he even did better than me with that one. I actually closed it after seeing the rejection, and he probably closed it when we were in that big area of resistance, which I pointed out ahead of time in the community, of course. And besides that, on gold, we also got this one closed at about 34% profit. So look, guys, I'm going to post a link in the pinned comment below this video if you want to take this next trade with me. Personally, I do it on MEXC because they have the lowest trading fees in the crypto space, and on top of that you can actually trade crypto as well as stocks and commodities like gold and silver all on the same platform in USDT. And of course, as some of the longer term viewers know, I've been trading on this exchange for many years at this point, so I will leave a link to MEXC in the pinned comment below this video. If you end up signing up with that link, you will likely also get some kind of deposit bonus, although to be fair, I have no idea how this actually works. I'm assuming there's some kind of like volume component or something to it where you have to trade a certain amount to actually get up to 10,000 bucks in bonuses. But like I said, don't quote me on that one. I don't think you're just going to sign up and get 10,000 bucks. Obviously, that would be ridiculous. But I'm assuming they have some kind of program where if you trade a certain amount or deposit or whatever, then you can get up to $10,000 in bonuses. Either way, this has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.